Welcome everyone to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you joining me as always. Look, if you want to follow this show, it's very simple. You can subscribe to it on YouTube at the Lake Lewis Jr. That's the channel, or you can subscribe to it via the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. It's on there as well. The pod is on YouTube. And if you want to listen to it in audio format, all you have to do is go to Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Music, Amazon Music. You look it up, it's on there. So we appreciate all the support that you've given me over the past several years. You know, obviously this has been a rebranding as far as the name of the show, formerly the After Practice Podcast. Now it's the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Lots of great things going on. And if you're a Washington Commanders fan, today is for you, because what I did today was I reached out to some people who've been supportive of me for a long time. And, you know, what I want to do each week is I want to bring on the fans. I want to literally bring you on the show via Zoom, via video, and get your thoughts. Let me know what you think of the team. We'll get your predictions for the game on that Sunday. So we started it up today, and I had, 4 gentlemen that we're going to have come on, and hopefully they're going to do a great job with us, breaking down this team. So you'll know who they are in the next segment. But I'm excited about having these guys come on because they are the ultimate fans and they really support the burgundy and gold. So yeah, not biased as far as what I say. I'll let you hear it from them in the next segment. But until we get to that part, it's a lot going on. This team is a team that's 7-2 on the year. They're on fire. They've won 7 out of their last 8 games. And I think that they put the league on notice. They have one of the young guns in the game in Jaden Daniels, number 5. And I think that most people are starting to see that as long as this team has an upright, healthy number 5, they're capable of winning every game they step on the field and play. That's just what he does for the dynamic of this football team. Not to mention the great coaching by Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn has this team well prepared, well structured, well organized. All the assistant coaches are doing wonderful jobs. The coordinators, Joe Witt on defense has turned that defense around. And then, of course, Cliff Kingsbury. What can you say about him? I mean, he's come in and made this offense prolific. And you look at everything that they're doing with Jaden Daniels as a rookie, it's stuff of legend. It's stuff of folk that you don't talk about in Washington. You have to go back to the days of when I was a young guy, when Washington was just mauling teams at RFK and it was Super Bowl or bust in this town. If you didn't get to the Super Bowl, people were like it was a travesty of a season. Well, that's kind of the vibe now with some of the younger folks. I've spoken to a lot of young fans recently over the past few weeks, and they're excited. They're like, man, now I know what you guys, how it felt for you. Well, yeah, that's exactly how it felt. It felt like you were watching something special unfold. And you are. You're watching a young football team take steps each week. Are they a lock to get to the Super Bowl? No, not even close. And we're not saying that. What we're saying, though, is that we're going to find out because there's legit hope that this team is a playoff team. And when you go out and you make a trade for Marshawn Lattimore, a 4-time Pro Bowler from New Orleans, former Ohio State Buckeye, when you make that kind of move for someone in season, it tells you that the brain trust, Josh Harris, Adam Peters, your GM, it tells you that they feel like they're capable of taking yet another step this season, not just next year or the year after or the year after that, this season. So I'm excited to see what the Commanders do, and it starts this weekend. They have a football team that's going to come in the Pittsburgh Steelers. Mike Tomlin, always a well-coached football team. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing season in 17 years as the Pittsburgh Steelers guy. So for everyone saying, oh, but he doesn't take them to the Super Bowl, they don't win it, he's got a Super Bowl under his name, and he's in a small market. So when you look at all the dynamics of what he has to deal with in Pittsburgh, you're not going to find anyone better. You're not. You're not going to find anyone more prepared, more structured. And now he may have the quarterback that can take them to different heights, take them to the heights that you have to go back to with Ben Roethlisberger. When Big Ben was there, Pittsburgh was a perennial favorite to get to the Super Bowl. Now, Russell Wilson has taken the reins. Obviously, the season started with them, and it started with success with Justin Fields, who they traded for from Chicago. But Russell Wilson's the guy, I think, for the moment right now. He's the wily veteran. He's the guy that has the Super Bowl ring, has a Super Bowl loss, too. So he's been to 2 Super Bowls. He's a guy that's played as an MVP at one point in this league. So You have him under center now, and it's changed the dynamics of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Their offense went from Justin Fields making plays with his legs and throwing, a lot of low percentage passes to Russell Wilson pushing the ball down the field. And it's kind of revitalized George Pickens, if you ask me. Now you're seeing what this guy was at Georgia. You're seeing that George Pickens. And what did Pittsburgh do? Trade deadline? All they did was go out and get Mike Williams, who really was rotting in hell up in New York with the Jets. So now he's in Pittsburgh to give them another, down the field, true playmaker weapon to go with this offense. So now, Najee Harris doesn't have to do everything in the backfield. It's a well-balanced setup for Pittsburgh, good tight end play as well. And I think for Washington, it's going to be a really big challenge because, as I said, Pittsburgh's going to be well-oiled, well-machined, and well-prepared to come into D.C. To get a W. So at 6-2, the one thing you have to do, look at Pittsburgh's record, and you have to ask the question, how good are they? So this is a game that both teams have to answer a lot of questions. And yeah, a lot of people are saying, who have they both played? Oh, they played some good teams, folks. Don't be fooled. Pittsburgh, you go back to, the first month of the season, the Chargers were on the tilt with them. The Broncos were on the tilt. So they've played some teams that have winning records. It's just been the last month of the season. They've played some pretty bad football teams, and they lost to one of them in Dallas, at home in Pittsburgh, I mind you. But they played the Giants. So they've played some teams that they were supposed to beat. The Jets. They were supposed to beat certain teams, and they did do that. They did exactly what Washington's doing. They're beating bad football teams. But now when you play the Buccaneers, which Washington lost in week 1, when you play the Ravens, which they lost in Baltimore, even though it was a tightly, well-played game, even though they didn't play their best game, they still win the game with the Ravens. But the Hail Mary against Chicago has since that Hail Mary, it looks like, the wheels have kind of fallen off a little bit. They have to regroup, recalibrate, do whatever they have to do to get back in things. But I think for Washington, people were saying when they beat the Cardinals weren't any good. The Cardinals are, the best record. They're in first place in the NFC West at 5-4, so they're over 500. Last night, Cincinnati was a couple plays away from beating Baltimore in Baltimore to get their record to 500. They lost to Baltimore, but still, both of these teams have done what they're supposed to do. Now the question is, what are they going to do when they face a team that has a superior record? Not just, Midland 500 type teams, but we're talking about, both teams have 2 losses. Both teams collectively have 4 losses and 13 wins. So this is going to be a home run type of football game, folks. It's going to be rock'em sock'em. I'm sure it's going to be a lot of Steelers fans at Northwest Stadium waving that terrible towel. But Washington has their version coming out. They're going to have their own burgundy towels flying around wearing the all burgundy. And it's a game I'm excited to be at, and I can't wait to see who comes out victorious in this game. There are a lot of injuries, so I'll give you some injury updates. Brian Robinson appears to be out for Sunday's game. That is kind of a blow for Washington's run game because he's one of those tough in between the tackle type runners and gives Washington an identity on offense when he's on the field, a tough identity. Well, Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichol, and Chris Rodriguez once again will probably be up, on the roster. And collectively, they played well against the Giants last week. So I think them as a whole, the 3 of them together, hopefully can give you, maybe not 100% what Brian Robinson would have given you, but at least gives you up to 80% of that. And I think in this offense with Jaden and what they're doing, I think that'll be enough. Now, Cornelius Lucas is out. And I know that's like, wow, man, he's been playing well at left tackle. Well, Brandon Coleman is the guy that they drafted out of Texas Christian, TCU, to be their long-term answer at tackle. And he's done nothing but show you that they got that pick right because he's been out there stoning people. You go back to the Cleveland game, excuse me, he held tight against Myles Garrett, and stuffed him. Ladarius Smith was there at the time. He's been traded to Detroit since, but they did a number on those guys on Cleveland and blew them out. Then you go back to last week. Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence, they pretty much held the Giants' prolific pass rush at bay. They did nothing. So Brandon Coleman should be okay there. So I think the Cornelius Lucas loss is, it's a good football player, but he wouldn't have been starting the football game anyway. So Brandon Coleman's entrenched there now, and unless he's injured, he's going to stay there permanently. So I don't know if that's such a big loss. A thing worth keeping eye on, a person, is Austin Seibert. He's been dealing with the leg injury. I think it's a hip injury to be exact. And, there's the chance that he may not play. So, they did sign a kicker to come in today to the practice squad just in case, they have to have that emergency kicker. They don't want to be caught, with the hand in the cookie jar, kind of like the, New York Giants did in that week 2 game. Remember that, where, they did not have Graham Gano ready and they needed him towards the end of the game. Probably would have won that football game realistically had they had a kicker ready to go. Well, Washington doesn't want to be caught like that, and they did some smart moves, which they've been doing all year. Everything they do makes sense. So look, folks, I could go on and on. This is what we do. As always, again, I appreciate you joining me, but I want to turn this over to some fans when we come back from break and get their thoughts on this year's 2024 Washington Commanders team that sits at 7-2 atop the NFC East. I want to get their thoughts on what they expect Sunday and just how they feel as fans. How good do they feel that they're finally witnessing something that looks sustainable, something that looks real, and something that is making for a magical and fun season for you guys out there. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more right here. We'll have the fans on right here on the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. All right, welcome back, everyone, to the Lake Lewis Jr. Show. Appreciate you joining us as always. And look, I told you that I was going to bring in some fans, bring in some people who've been supportive of me over the, last couple years and just in general of this football team, and they're winning. So I wanted to bring in some guys that, they've reached out. I reached out to them, said, would you come on? And they were gracious enough to come on the show. So Albert Ferreira, we go way back to Silver Spring days. So,
Right.
appreciate you coming on. Brad Jones, are you in Detroit right now, Brad?
I'm in the suburb of Detroit, Southfield, Michigan.
All
So
right,
not
all
far.
right. And see, repping them up there. I know you're going to take a lot of heat with this team possibly going to Detroit later on, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Then we have Josh on. What's going on, Josh? How you doing?
Doing pretty good, guys. How about you guys? Thanks for having us on.
No worries. And then, of course, this guy down here really needs no introduction. Somebody that I'm really proud of, the work that he's put in over the years. And, we've been friends for several years, and he's doing a great job on his podcast, Rambling with Rio. You make sure you subscribe to him and check them out on YouTube. Rio Robinson. What's going on, fam?
What's going on, man? We're trying to get to 8-2 for the first time since before I was on this earth, man. I'm hyped, late.
Oh, wow.
Well, guess what? The other gentlemen that are on with us right now, they can remember the good old days, and they can remember when every year was what you're experiencing right now, Rio. So it's just good that this team has turned the corner. And before we get into it, I do want to tell you guys the vibe at practice all week it's been eerily quiet. Like even in the locker room, they were playing Kim yesterday and Jill Scott.
Okay.
Like,
Kim.
Yeah, and I'm like, whose playlist is this?
That
So
must be Bobby Wagner.
well, no, actually, it was Trent Scott's playlist. I told him I'd shout him out, so it was
Okay.
Trent Scott's playlist. But that was the kind of music that was playing, as opposed to the previous weeks where it was a little bit more young and whatever. But it was just a calmness that they
Mhm.
had in the locker room, and focused, mission oriented. I'm impressed with what I'm seeing. So I wanted to get you guys on because you guys are the ultimate fans, and you guys have the pulse of the team as a fan. So what do you guys
Mhm.
see? Let's and I'll call you out and we'll do it that way to make it easier. But I
Okay.
want to start with Rio on this because you're a big time fan, and yet you and we do our thing on Tuesdays with each other. What are you seeing
Mhm.
that makes you feel comfortable about Pittsburgh, maybe beating Pittsburgh on Sunday?
This team is prepared to play every week. How many years did we come in and watch this team just get boat raced from the opening whistle? I'm talking undisciplined. It like the even like the first 17 to 20 plays offensively and defensively, they're scripted. And even with a script, these guys were not on the same accord for so many years. We come out, we execute the game plan, and no matter what happens in the game, we stay the course. We're cool, we're calm, and we are the model of what that leader we got at quarterback is, man. He's unfazed. These guys, I feel confident every week that Dan Quinn Cliff Kingsbury, Joe Witt, and Jaden Daniels take that field for us, man.
All right, good stuff. Josh, what are you thinking?
Yeah, the overall vibe. This is a vibe that I remember a lot from a long time ago. I mean, you can, like Rio said, the preparedness is definitely there. You feel like this past Sunday with the Giants and the previous game with the Giants, we all have that familiar feeling from the last 25 years. How can this Giants team, they might just come up and whoop on us again? But I did not feel that the second time around.
Mm-hmm.
They walk out the confidence. The first game watching JD5, he's all smiles.
Yeah.
You can tell he knows he's just out there having fun because he's putting the work in.
Yeah.
He's putting the work in. We haven't seen a quarterback in burgundy and gold put the work in like he has in a very long time, if not ever.
Great points. Great points. Let's go. Albert, what do you have? What makes you feel comfortable about possibly beating Pittsburgh on Sunday?
Well, let me just first say to Rio, shout out to you, because I remember the days when they were 14-2.
Right.
Yeah.
When the 2 losses were to the 1-15 Cowboys and the Eagles. So I remember that year very well. And to Brad, I want to shout out to you, my fellow Midwest brother. I'm here in Cleveland representing the Burgundy and Gold, talking to you live.
Right.
So once again, to kind of piggyback on this question, I've just noticed that it's like all systems are aligned and operating in unison. The special teams, the kicker that they picked up all of a sudden, kicked 7 field goals in a game when the offense and defense weren't really kind of clicking the way that they wanted to. You see the defense picking up the offense, last game and a couple games where maybe the offense wasn't really firing up. And then, in the games where, like Cincinnati, the offense was, kind of clicking. And all of that to me is pretty impressive. But I think to kind of just add a little nuance, there's so many things that are going right, and it feels special. It feels like this is something that no one expected, but you can sense it's building. And that's why I'm happy they made the trade that they made to get the corner that they got. I think that's going to pay dividends in a few weeks once he's ready. But the point of it is, it's just magical. And you can just tell that this starts from the top. This starts from ownership to the front office to the coaches and then the coaching staff. You can just see and feel that when all of those things are aligned and working the way that they should work, now it feels like we are a top level organization, like the Steelers, like the Ravens, like the 49ers. And to me, that is the most proud thing that I have about this, because it's been 30 years since I felt like that we had all of those things kind of working in unison.
Yep.
Right. Good stuff. And then let's go with Brad, in Detroit. And again, folks, you can see these are fans that I appreciate making time to come onto the show. They've been supportive, and I'm always going to try to bring people on the show if you're supportive, and obviously they know their stuff that they're talking about. Everyone has the same sentiments here. So let's bring on Brad. He's up in Detroit right now. That's kind of enemy country right now.
Hey, but for me, it was, how many times have we watched our previous coaches, right? We just knew it just from his interview. But now with Dan Quinn, we, as everyone else echoed, we're prepared. And even if we come with hiccups into the game, because we're so prepared, it's almost like it's not a worry to us.
Yeah.
There's not many times I've walked away from the television when our team is playing because it's like I knew we lost. So just to echo everybody, that feeling that we have being a well-ran organization winning to me, because honestly, I didn't expect for us to have this winning.
Oh.
For me, I didn't even think winning. I didn't care about winning this year. I just think we got our owner, we got our coach, we got a competent GM finally, and we got a quarterback. We were on the right direction, but winning now just makes it all better for me. And I'm sure all of us feel that same way. So no matter who we play, because up here in Detroit, they woofing in my ear a lot. They woofing in my ear a lot. But
right there.
But we're kind of like they were. They've been in the basement for a long time. And then they got a competent GM. They got it together, and we're on our way. And I think we're going to be winning for a long time, real long time.
And this is something that Rio and me talk about all the time. This thing is only going to get stronger. They're everything Dan Quinn and Adam Peters is touching right now is turning to gold. And Yeah, players are going to want to start coming to Washington as free agents. Players might even start telling their agents, even, kids coming out of college, I don't want to play for that team. I want to go here. So as long as you have hope, as long as you have realistic expectations, and those expectations when you have number 5 behind center is that you should win football games. That's just that's the expectation, is they're going to win every week, because when you have the most important position in all of sports covered, and not just covered where it's okay, but covered like he's top 5 potentially. If not entering that conversation
Already.
right now.
Yeah, if not, he's there right now.
That's gonna win football games. And as we say, if he's no worse than the second best player on Sundays on the field, they're gonna win and they're gonna be in the football game. But if he's the best player on Sundays, they're guaranteed to win the game. And that's what we're seeing now.
And when was the last time we can say we've had the best player on the field?
Never.
I've never
long.
been able to say it.
Right.
I think you could go back maybe and say Sean Taylor. Legitimately, you could say, but you couldn't say that with Robert. No offense to Robert. That's my guy. But Robert had a great rookie season, but it got stronger towards the middle to when they went on that run. But Jaden's come out, literally come out the gate
prepared.
And everything you see with this guy is just he gets better every week. And another little note, and then I'll let you guys have the floor. I brought you on here not to hear me, but to hear you guys. But in the locker room, even this week, Jaden is always in the locker room hanging out. The only quarterback I've ever seen in 15 years covering this team in the locker room that did that was Alex Smith. And if you can say what you want, but if he didn't have that leg injury, that team had started to turn the corner and look like a professional setup because of the quarterback they had. So, all right, so let's throw some things out here, and we'll go around the board again. We'll go back the other way. So, Brad, you'll be up first this time. Sunday, Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin, he has a great track record, especially coming off byes. He's 13-4 coming off bye weeks, and he's 7. They've won their last 7 straight coming off a bye week. No Brian Robinson this week. No Marshawn Lattimore this week. No Cornelius Lucas this week. Might be without Austin Seibert. He's nursing an injury. Do you feel like Washington still wins this football game?
I do. We at home. We got the confidence. We won't be outcoached like this time. We equal that. And then number 5 back there, man. JD5, baby. We got 5 back there. So anything can happen, anything.
All right. Okay. So let's go on here with Albert. You're up next. What you got?
I'm confident that they're going to compete and give themselves a chance to be there at the end, kind of like in Chicago. I will say this is the kind of gut check that we need. Are we legitimate? Are we really somebody to be reckoned with as a team? Or are we just still, kind of in progress to be in that championship level team? I think Sunday is a statement game to show, and it's not about wins and losses per se. I just want to see them compete because we know the brand of football that the Steelers bring. We know, like Brad said, they're going to be well coached and well prepared. How do we match that? If we can compete on both sides of the ball and compete for, 60 minutes, I'll take the outcome. I mean, it's only a 2.5-point game at this point. So even the odds makers think this is going to be a close game. And I'll say the other thing is I hope the fans come out and rock, because when I heard that, in Ohio, I felt the energy when I heard the crowd in the stadium after the miracle in Maryland. And I wish I was there. And if you guys were there, please tell us how that felt, because I haven't felt that energy since the old RFK days.
So we're not supposed to make noise in the press box, during the games. They always have a thing, and they remember this is a working environment. Please, no cheering for the teams. Screw that. When that play happened, the press box was wild. It was everyone. Oh my God! Like it was absolutely berserk in there because. Listen, we cover this. We see these guys every day, and for years I've seen nothing but guys with their heads down, guys don't want to talk to you because they lost. And it was more of that than it was of the joy I see now. It was just incredible. It was an incredible feeling. And it was a game that I'll never forget, that where I lost my professionalism that night in the press box and became a fan again. I'm from DC, so that meant something to me.
It
So
was necessary, Lig. It was necessary.
absolutely. So Josh, what do you think as far as Sunday?
Well, I think I'll start off with what I'm tired of, and rightfully so, because of the past 25 years, is we haven't played anybody. They said that against Cincy, then we beat them, right? And then we played the Bears. We outplayed them the entire game.
Absolutely.
Right? Outplayed them, but that happens in football sometimes.
Yeah.
And then it's division game in New York. Daniel Jones, but he always has our number.
Weapon.
He didn't again.
Right.
And then we had and looks to me that the Steelers, their schedule is kind of the same, right? Am I worried now for the first time? No, I'm really not. For the first time in 2 decades plus, I'm not worried. Tomlin is amazing, and we're slowly starting to see the picks come our way. The picks are coming our way finally. I like being the underdog because we have been for 3 decades, but it's not going to be that way for much longer. It really isn't. No, and that Lattimore trade, I had a feeling that finally something was going to happen. And I told my boss that morning, I said, you're going to see Lattimore come to us by the end of the game. And he bet me $5, and it came my way.
$5 earned, man.
Right. $5. You need to get that $5 dipped in gold, and just say this one that I got right that changes this team from a contender to like they're legitimately a team that can challenge for a Super Bowl in the NFC. I truly believe.
I felt we were a contender from the Ravens game.
Yep.
I mean, look at them. Look at last night's game. How many touchdowns were scored in the fourth quarter?
Oh my gosh.
That's what I mean. It was a track meet. It was a track.
They wouldn't have scored that many points on us. I don't feel like it. I really don't.
Hey, is Lattimore our best corner since Champ Bailey?
Potentially, yes. Potentially.
Yeah.
Yes. But Rio, let's get your thoughts on this. Like, what we talked about it briefly on Tuesday, but it's Friday. A couple of days have been there. Now we know about the injury updates. What do you expect to happen on Sunday?
It's gonna hurt having no B-Rob, but when you have 5 on the field and he's the better quarterback of the 2 that's going to step out there at Northwest on Sunday, you have a great chance to win the game. We are picked to beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have not had a losing season under Mike Tomlin in 17 years. Yeah, they're what? 13-4 after the bye in his 17 years coaching the team. That's phenomenal. That's great
too, as far as after buys.
And he always beats rookie quarterbacks. I believe he's only lost to 4 or 5 out of 28 times he's played rookies in his career. But this rookie here is different. This rookie here is already producing at the clip of the top 5 quarterbacks in the league this year, and we have not lost a game in that stadium yet. They're going to bring their terrible towels. Guess what? We countered it, and we have fight for old DC burgundy towel. It's going to be burgundy and gold euphoria on Sunday at that stadium. And while I respect everything about that defense, TJ Watt, Hayward, Highsmith, they got dogs from on the front line, the middle line, and in the secondary. But they've beat up on some bad offenses. They've played the 29th, 26th, 25th, 23rd, and 22nd ranked offense this year. They haven't seen a rushing attack in the top 3 to 5 like Washington's. The best rushing team they've played against is the Denver Broncos, who were the 15th best rushing team in the league. They have lost a game to the Dallas Cowboys and to the Indianapolis Colts this year.
They lost to them at home.
Yeah. I know they can get after the quarterback, but people better stop sleeping on the fact that we have a top 7 offensive line in this league. Cornelius Lucas is out, but it's okay. We have our young stalwart, Brandon Coleman, who shut Brian Burns out last week, and we shut out the best pass rushing league. Talk to us nice. I still got us winning 24-14 on Sunday.
Yeah, I said 24-17. I'm right there with you. Blitz old man Russell's legs to death.
That's where we were getting ready to go. We have about 3 minutes. That's where I was getting ready to go with you guys to give me the prediction. So we got Rio's. We just heard Josh say the same thing. So Brad and Albert. Brad, what's your score in this game? Give me a score.
That's a tough one. I say we put up at least 20. I say 20-17 us. We get it.
All right, Albert.
I'm thinking it's going to be a little more high scoring than what y'all are thinking. It's going to be like maybe 34-28, something like that. Because I mean, I agree with Rio. I don't think the Steelers have seen an offense like the Commanders in the way that they've been moving. And I'm got to tell you, the offensive coordinator Kingsbury, when you break down his film and you see the way that he's moving the teams around and manipulating defenses and overcoming pass rushers and things like that. I mean, he's doing some brilliant things. And I just think that if we drop 30 on the Steelers, not only will we make a statement, but we will obviously dispel all the doubters.
All right. Well, I'm taking Washington to win this game 27, and I'm taking Pittsburgh 16. Don't ask me how they get 16, but I kept telling myself 9. So 27-16, I'm taking this. But fellas, man, listen, I greatly appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to come on here and do this. And, I kind of want to make this a normal occurrence. Like each week we bring on some fans. So you want to come back again for a cameo appearance, let me know. We'll get you back on here. But again, I'm greatly appreciative and, for all the support that you give me. And then, of course, giving this young man down here at the bottom of the screen a lot of support too. He's doing a really good job killing it. So, appreciate you guys coming on, man.
Appreciate all y'all. Thank you so much.
Lake, I'll be there in 3 weeks against Tennessee, man.
Do it. Let's do it. And
I'll be there for Dallas. All
right. So whenever you guys are at the stadium, make sure you get in touch with me because my better half is the in-game host for the team, and she'll get you up on Jumbotron and all that good stuff. So we'll do that.
Nice.
But again, appreciate you guys. Have a great weekend, and hopefully, come Monday, we're able to talk about this W that this team is.
8-2, baby.
8-2, baby.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Hail.
All right, take care. All right. Man, what can you say? I appreciate the guys coming on and breaking it down, chopping it up, and taking time out of their day, to come on with me on a Friday. Look, you could be out right now partying, doing whatever you want to do. But for them to come on with me, they always support me. So this was my way to show them some love. I definitely appreciated them. And, we're going to do this every week. I want to make this a normal occurrence, where I bring on fans. So if you want to come on this show, all I ask you to do is send me your email. You can put it in the comments, right here on the site. If you're watching this on YouTube, look, hit that subscribe button. You see it right there in the bottom corner. Hit the subscribe button. And then once you do that, you can get to me. You can let me know if you want to come on. You can write me on here. We would give out an email, but I would prefer you do it this way because I want people to see that you want to come on, and I want people to see that I brought you on because I want to show you that love, that proper respect for you guys showing me all the love over the time. So if you want to follow me, folks, on social media, all you have to do is follow me at Lake Lewis Jr. on all platforms. And then again, subscribe to the show right here on YouTube. Make sure you follow the channel, which is the Lake Lewis Jr. And the show, obviously, is Lake Lewis Jr. Show. And then, of course, you can go to sportsjourney.com for more information. And you can check me out, if you're in the area, in the DMV area, you can check me out doing a post game on ABC Channel 7 after the home games. You'll see me there, and actually on away games too. So you'll see me this Sunday evening. I think it comes on at 11:30 on Channel 7 in the area. So you can check me out on there with good friend Scott Abraham. So folks, appreciate you joining me. Have fun this weekend. Hopefully there's a W in Washington come Monday when we fire this show back up. Be safe out there. Take care.